You're gonna have to get ready for this one. It's gonna be a banger, and it's directly targeted um, for you people watching. So I don't even know if I'm gonna upload this one. Um, that's because I've been having a few issues with my internet, and I've got a direct message for some of you. So I really do hope you're listening, and I imagine you will be without me even uploading this. So let's get into it. So I was originally going to record this. It was going to be, a YouTube video, but I don't think I need to do that. And I'm a bit annoyed as well, so we'll get into that. So the video would have been why I am a good person for the situation that I find myself in, and why I'm a very bad, obviously, choice. I am probably not intentional for multiple reasons. So yeah, I think it's a much needed video. I find myself in this unique position where radical Zionists are likely listening and watching me, and watching my videos, hoping that I reveal something important. Okay, so I think I need to explain some of my morals, some of my reasonings, some of my rationale, so they can properly understand the kind of person that they're dealing with. Because I think for a while now, you seem to think you've got one over on me and you can push me around, you can prank call me, um, you can do things to me, to my family, you can make attacks, you can make threats. And want to let you know about myself before we go any further, let's say. Okay. So negatives. Negatives. I suppose you could probably say I'm a pretty selfish person. Okay. If you can't tell by now, I only serve the interests of the people and God. Okay. And obviously, this could probably be terrible if, let's say, you happen to live in the UK. Because if I can use a unique set of circumstances to help stop and prevent a war or the killing of innocent children, you can bet your fucking life on it that I will. So, yeah, even if that means negative consequences for, let's say, the UK or someone famous, like, let's say, Elon Musk, you can bet your fucking life on it that I would do. All right. So currently, there's a bunch of Zionist supporters in our government. So that's not a hard decision to make. The UK has much bigger problems as well, like the inequality and the poverty spread far and wide. So why not? I'd fuck it off in a heartbeat. Okay. And look, it might even be beneficial to help get a more left-wing government in anyway, because I know God knows that's what we need right now. So if you're thinking, is that something I do? Yeah, in a heartbeat. Okay. And I suppose I have absolutely no poker face. Yeah, I speak my mind, and you can probably tell from the look of my face whether I'm being serious or not. Okay. It isn't always a good thing though. So, another negative, I'm not very good at this video stuff, talking to you guys that are watching me, thinking, what's he going to say? What's he going to reveal? But I suppose that doesn't matter as long as the message is received. And I'm going to make sure that hopefully the message is received and I get some feedback from just this recording. Otherwise, we'll take things to step two, because I think for far too long you've had your way in doing what you think you can get away with without me doing anything back. So it's my turn. It's my turn. So yeah, let's carry on. So yeah, the best part, the positives. Okay, so aside from my, unwavering commitment to the essentials of being a good person, the weird things like wanting humanity to flourish, okay, ending war, death and poverty, wanting the weird, the weird things. I'm also a firm believer in God, okay, and as such, as much as you Zionists want a world war and want to enact prophecy, I also believe in a prophecy, okay, and that's one where the Muslims have a great war at the end of times and they actually defeat the Dajjal, and that's the Antichrist, okay. So if it's a war of religion you wanted, it's a war of religion you can have, and we'll just have to see whose faith is stronger, okay. And I can make that happen for you very easily, okay, but we'll get into that later, okay. So yeah, another positive, I'd say anyway, is I think like a lot, like a lot. Okay, I think about a situation, then I think about it again, and then I'll probably think about it again. So I'll just sometimes I'm just thinking about things constantly, um, and I notice the small things, the small details that often go amiss with everyone else. So some people don't pick up on these kind of things, but I sometimes, in a funny way, do. So yeah, I notice patterns and I connect the dots very easily. So I have, a funny way of thinking, I suppose you could say. I can almost decode, I suppose you would say, a person's thoughts or their feelings just by visual perception. So yeah, I'm good at people, very good at people and things, situations, understand them. And I'd like to say, hopefully, you've been able to realize this by now. I'm not a complete fucking idiot. Okay? You know, if you don't, if you're not realizing now, you soon will, hopefully, because I'm going to tell you daily, not daily, maybe weekly, a bit more about me. I'm going to make a few more videos that hopefully you're going to see, and you're gonna kind of learn the kind of person you're dealing with. So we'll get there. We'll get there. I've no doubt. But I do have my moments, of course. So yeah, we'll see. I guess another positive would be, probably despite what you might think, I'm not against America or American prosperity itself. But I look around in today's modern world, and like some, I think to myself, really aren't kind of achieving the kind of prosperity that we deserve. Life could be so much better across the world. There's only been one limiting factor in my view, and that's radical Zionism, and it's currently what's holding us back right now. It's currently the reason why there's so much death and destruction, so much war and poverty, and we're heading down a one-way road, and it's not a good outlook. And I don't think, you guys might think it'll be good for yourself, but I don't think it will be, because you might not even get that far. And that's something I'm going to touch on in a second, which is the war with Russia. Okay, so yeah, I believe there's been one limiting factor, and that's radical Zionism. Okay, it's resulted in so much death. It's prevented or limited successful people and businesses, which I'd agree with. I think there's so much in this world that probably is limiting people from achieving true greatness. So imagine a world where the US would be right now if it focused itself and its resources on helping support and create innovative businesses in the US, similar to the kind of support seen in China. We wouldn't even be talking right now. You'd already be on the moon. Um, you get my point, hopefully. Um, but yes, you'd be far more technologically advanced. There probably would be little war for this, little reason for this bickering. Um, so yeah, but yeah, focusing on and investing in military prowess is a zero-sum game. At some point, that investment isn't going to pay off, and you'll be causing more harm to yourself and others than is worthwhile. But see, if you're a radical Zionist, you don't think like this. You just want to win, even if that comes at an unimaginable price. So this is something I was going to do a video on yesterday. I was actually gonna, I hadn't slept. I'd been up all night and seen the news, and I thought, oh, fucking hell, that's something I probably need to talk to my compadres about, and soon, because something needs to be done, and that's the war with Russia and Ukraine. So Vladimir Putin is again threatening nuclear war for I think it's probably the fourth time this guy's said, threatened to use nuclear weapons. Now, personally, does it affect me if he launches a few nukes at Ukraine and then maybe, other Western allies, which could include the UK, but hopefully would probably as well include maybe other countries like the US, and hopefully Israel. Hopefully he sends a few fuckers out their way. So, but yeah, nuclear warfare obviously isn't good. I don't have to tell you that. And you're edging on the precipice. You're pushing the limits. You're obviously smashing their boys in the war. The casualties are probably almost double, if not more, of the Russian soldiers. And because I personally don't believe that Russia's probably being truthful. We've got Ukraine's numbers, but we've not got Russia's. So, in terms of the losses on the Russian side, sorry. So, my one and only request is going to be what's going to happen at the minute, and that is because of your actions, because of what you've done to me, because of what you've done to my family, despite me not doing anything to you guys personally, because I just reacted, knee-jerk reaction, didn't know what was happening. You've decided to do something to me and my family. I'm getting prank calls. So if sometimes a massive if, and you're only gonna get one chance. If this is a continued thing, if I at any point think that you haven't stopped, you're still following me, still stalking me, still trying to get to me, to my family, suddenly happen to catch a very bad cold or a virus, and my whole family does, or XYZ, we can go down this rabbit hole of what's possible and what's not, but if I was to get very ill, let me just explain to you what the kind of reaction would be for myself. And that's perhaps to explain the kind of impact I could have. And I don't think I need to go into it in too much detail, but I think you probably already know. I think you already know that Mr. Donald Trump in America is fighting a losing battle himself, for having been a supporter of Zionism. He's losing the public, and it won't be long before you've completely lost their faith. What could the impact of what I might have to say have on America, on the world? I think it'll be a big one, a very big one. I think it'll be so big that it could be traumatic. You've got your stock market, so got a massive bubble at the minute with AI in America. You could have riots maybe potentially if people found out that there's this radical plot being supported by the current government. It just wouldn't be good. And I think you know that. I think you do. And there's little you can do to get to myself, and that's the fact. Because at the minute, again, it just seems like stories or ramblings of a madman. But you know very well I could prove this to be the case, that my story lines up, and I do. And all it would take maybe is a bit of time or no time at all, depending on how I would go about it. And there's a few ways. There's a few ways I've got conjured up, and this is the problem. You don't know what I'm thinking. You'd like to know, but you don't. So, and regardless, even if you did know, to be fair, you wouldn't be able to do anything to stop it. You wouldn't. So, like I say, it's your one and only chance. And if you think I'm fucking about, if you think I'm lying, if you think I'm a bullshitter, I'm gonna, I've not been able to do it tonight, which was my original goal. I'm gonna be honest. It was to get on my laptop and do something, but I've not been able to do it as of yet, and that's because I owe it to you. I owe it to you for what you've done, and you'll get it. And it won't be the full thing. It'll just be a little pinch. You'll feel, a little bit more pressure. Because the thing is, so I'm gonna recap. I'm a firm believer in God and doing the right thing for suffering people, for little kids that are dying aimlessly, all at the hands of terrorists, and they are terrorists. They've got their own political desires. So if I can, even if that means going against, my own family's interests, I would do. And that's because of God and what He's taught us in religion and doing the right thing. And ultimately, if this is a test from God from me to be in this situation, I want to pass it, because it might very well be. And I'm obviously pro-American to an extent. Some of you I can't stand. I'm gonna be honest. Overall, I'm not against America. Again, I'm probably more pro-American than some of you Zionist radicals in the American government that are currently teetering on the edge of nuclear war with Russia. Like I say, if you don't get your shit together, I'll make sure that you do. And it's not hard to figure out how I do that. I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can probably get together. Pull up your, your blackboard or your whiteboard and jot some ideas down of what I might be able to do. And again, there's nothing you can do to stop it. So feel free. And I think a lot. And I'm obviously not afraid of consequences, as you can tell. So good luck. And if it's war, if it's war you want, I can make sure it's war you get.